So if you haven't heard, LEGO Fortnite recently brought out 3 brand new weapons to Odyssey. Those being the dual daggers, the warhammer, and of course the plasma pistols. Now the plasma pistols are something I've literally talked about in every single video since they've come out, as those are in my opinion the most overpowered and best weapons that have ever been released into LEGO Fortnite Odyssey. And if you haven't tried them out yet, I highly suggest you do. Also, after this video, go check out my previous videos because I show you guys some of the best crafts for those. But I'm sure at this point you guys get it. The plasma pistols are amazing, but what about the other 2 weapons? Like I mentioned, we have the warhammer and the dual daggers, both of which I feel like I have not shown enough love to here on this channel. So in today's video, we're going to be testing them out with different crafts to find out what the best combinations are. And then of course, later in this video, we're going to be taking them into my expert mode world and crafting my favorite builds. We're here in sandbox right now, and if we open up some of these chests, you can see that we have 2 sapphire warhammers here, and then in the other chest we have 2 ruby dual daggers. Now this video is definitely going to be a little bit more experimental, as because we're in sandbox, we're able to come over to the codex and spawn in any enemy type we could possibly want. And in this video, we're going to be testing different crafts to see how they perform against some of the best enemies in the entire game, all on the journey to get better with every single weapon, so that when the spires finally activate in our world later this month, we are fully ready for anything that LEGO Fortnite throws at us. So guys, we are getting a LEGO Fortnite Odyssey update pretty soon, and subscribe if you're excited for it. It's been a minute since we got new content, and honestly at this point it's pretty long overdue. Also drop a like on the video, it really helps out. But let's get into it. Now, like I kind of mentioned in the intro, on each one of these chests we do have 2 crafts of each weapon. Obviously I can make more if I want, but I already kind of have in mind the different rune combos that I want to throw on each of them. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is grab both of these new weapons that I honestly have not tried out as much as I should. And in past videos I honestly kind of dunked on these, saying they're not that great, but I feel like I still haven't given them a proper test. So that's what we're setting out to do in today's video, and here we go. Right off the bat, we're going to take these over to our rune forge, and with every single weapon we're going to be testing today, of course we're going to put damage 3 on them. That's going to give it the most damage if it wasn't obvious already. On top of that though, for these first crafts, we're definitely going to go with berserk, and that might sound like an interesting combo, but if you read into what berserk does, we got it right here, and it says attacking significantly increases sprint speed and jump height for a few seconds. Now with both of these weapons, my main concern with them is the fact that when you attack with them, you're kind of stuck in the swing position for a minute, and that's true with both the dagger and the warhammer. So putting berserk on them should actually be pretty solid. And like I said, the reason we're in sandbox right now is so that we can spawn in any creature or enemy that we want, so we'll definitely be testing that. But because we decided to craft with sapphire and gold for our warhammers, of course that's going to mean that we get 4 different rune slots as well. So let's throw on a few more. Now because we're experimenting, the next one we're going to use might be a little controversial, but as we can see, we threw on force 3, which increases knockback a lot. And lastly, because we're trying to make this realistic, we're going to throw on durability. That way we have this warhammer for the longest duration possible. Now in this last chest over here, I haven't even opened this yet, but we have a ton of rift crystals. We're going to throw this straight into the rune forge. That way we can start working towards a legendary variant of it. And ladies and gentlemen, that right there is our first craft, and that's going to be a sapphire warhammer with these 4 runes on it. Now before we even test this one, we're going to go ahead and craft our next warhammer, and on this one yet again, we're going to go ahead and put durability and damage on it. So there we go. I feel like these 2 are actually essential for basically any weapon in the game. But on top of that, for this one, we are going to be testing out zapping 3, and I know what you might be thinking, zapping 4 is way better, and obviously you're going to need Shatterhorn fragments to get zapping 4. So zapping 3 is basically the best we could do here. And on top of that, the last thing we're going to be throwing on is luck 3. Yet again, we're going to go ahead and throw this in the legendary forge. This is what I would be doing in my normal expert mode world whenever I craft anything. So we're trying to make this as realistic as possible. Now between the 2 of these crafts, I'm going to be honest, I think this one's going to be a little bit better. I'm really excited to test out berserk, and I think if force works as I think it might, it could be absolutely insane to just go ahead and blow enemies away from you. Obviously, one of the main concerns with this weapon right here is that when you slam with it, you're just going to be kind of stuck in the animation for a second, and that's not very good. So yeah, I'm kind of banking on the fact that force might help with that a little bit. And then of course berserk as well, so you can go ahead and run, sprint, and jump away. So before we even get into the dual daggers, let's go ahead and spawn in some enemies and test these 2 out. And here we go with our berserk warhammer. The first thing we have to test it against is obviously skeletons, since this is the most common enemy in the game. So let's go ahead and just swing it, and off the bat, what you're going to see is that with berserk, we're going to be able to sprint and jump away pretty easily. Obviously the skeletons are really no threat to begin with, but just going ahead and slamming and swinging around, we are one-hitting these like no problem at all. So I think we need a more difficult enemy next. So here we go. We got the same warhammer out, and next we're going to be testing them against some glow bone wolves. Let's start with a slam attack and see what it does. And off the bat, it barely does half of the health. It doesn't even do half of the health, actually. Oh my. Okay, we actually got a bit of a fight here, and bang. bang. We can go ahead and dismiss. We can get away. Obviously, when the classes come into the game. Oh, wait a sec. Did you guys just see that combo? We hit him with a little wombo combo there, the 1-2. That was not that bad. Anyway, before I got distracted, what I was trying to say is once we get these hero classes into the game, like Shadow Caller, Rift Ripper, and the Hunter, we'll obviously be much better in combat. Right now, as it stands, we basically only have this little dodge roll, but it should get much better after the update. Either way, though, look at this right here. The Warhammer does a ton of damage. One attack that I'm super interested in trying is our right click here. So I go ahead and stand on my head like this with the Warhammer, and then I just swing around and actually... really not that much damage. Let's see if we can one hit him with this. Come on. And we can't. Okay, wait, never mind. That might not be that good. I think the best attack with the Warhammer might just be the jump slam. That did 38 damage. Let's go ahead and test it against this. Again, guys, today's video is very experimental. That only did 25 damage though when I stood on my head. So I think the best attack might actually just be the jump slam here. And yeah, I think it actually is. But right now we only have 2.5 hearts, and let's lock in and see if we can go ahead and take down this bone wolf. No problem. Oh gosh. We just cannot get lunged at. There we go. And okay, we got lunged at and we're dead. Anyway, guys, we've only been testing out this first Warhammer that, of course, had Berserk, Force, damage, and durability. But next up, we're going to be swapping to our other one that has Luck and Zapping 3. Now, off the bat, I feel like this might not do as much damage. Obviously, our critical attack with that other one was doing 38. So let's see what this does. And it's also 38, which is honestly not shocking because these both have damage 3. The difference is with Zapping, if we go ahead and eliminate any of these enemies, you'll see that it does a little shock attack. And off the bat, it's already going to do damage to enemies around it. Now, of course, the best case scenario here would just be to get Zapping 4, which can only be acquired through a Shadowhorn Warhammer. Of course, that's also just more expensive, though. So let's keep testing this out. Let's go ahead and just figure out how we're using this Warhammer best. And right now, I still just am not sold on this thing. I mean, I'm just getting absolutely destroyed. I basically lost all of my health here. We'll go ahead and do another jump slam. And oh my goodness, if I just got hit there, I would have died. But there we go. And I mean, we were literally just fighting bone wolves and we're already on the brink of death again. So I feel like spawning in a brute or anything like that is kind of redundant. We don't even really need to do it. I feel like I already know the answer to which Warhammer is going to be better. And I think the one that's going to take the crown is this one right here. Damage, Berserk, Force, and durability. I don't think Luck or Zapping are that important unless you have a Shadowhorn one. So for that reason, we are throwing our Luck Zapping Warhammer in the trash. And the one that we will be crafting in our expert mode world is this one right here. And I was going to try some other upgrades on our Ruby dual daggers here, but after testing out the Warhammer, I think the answer is pretty easy. Berserk might just be the move. So of course, that's the first thing that we're going to throw on this. And along with it, we're also throwing on damage 3. And last but not least, durability 3, just so it lasts as long as possible. And those are going to be our 3 upgrades to our brand new daggers. And yes, I said 3. Obviously, if you go ahead and make Sapphire dual daggers, you will get 4 rune slots. That way you can throw on 1 extra one. But the reason I decided to make Ruby dual daggers is because I feel like daggers are all about speed. And as you can see with the Ruby, it's going to do the most speed out of any of the different gem types. And as you can see, I use gold on the handle, but if you go ahead and use copper, you can get even more speed on top of it. The only reason I didn't is because I did want at least 3 rune slots. So here we go. We have our fully kitted out Ruby dual daggers. The last thing we'll of course do is rift these so that we can get them to the legendary tier as we use them. Keep in mind, again, we are in sandbox mode, so we can go ahead and do things like this. And oh my goodness. Okay, that was just a normal skeleton. So let's go ahead and test something a little more strong. And I guess our first test will be these glow bone wolves. So let's go ahead and just charge at them. And okay, that seemed to be just about the same damage output as our Warhammer. And of course, the one thing we're going to be looking for here is the Berserk, because as you can see, we can kind of sprint and jump away. And then as we come back, we can go ahead and slam. That's 17 damage. We do 11 with this. And then of course, we also have that spin attack. And I think that these are going to be a little bit better than the Warhammer, in my opinion. Again, I think it's just going to be one of these things that we're going to have to mess with quite a bit, get the timing down. And then I think once we do, they'll be a whole lot better. I really like the spin attack with this because it just does a ton of damage super quickly. And yeah, like I said, after testing our Warhammer, I don't even think there needs to be a secondary option for the rune combination on this. I do think that this is going to be some of the best you can get. So with all that being said, we are over here in expert mode now, where I have a lot of work to do. Again, the spires are activating so soon, but what we're going to go ahead and do is have some fun with these brand new crafts that we discovered. And let's see, I'm actually very interested to see how many Shadowhorn fragments I even have in the first place. And apparently it's none. Wait a sec. What? Okay, it turns out I have 2 Shadowhorn fragments. And I know earlier I was talking all about using Ruby, but since I have these, I think I'm just going to send it. I feel like zapping plus berserk plus damage might be insane. And we'll use gold on the handle to go ahead and give ourselves one extra rune slot as well. And then of course, we're also going to go ahead and craft ourselves a warhammer. And I know exactly what I want to do with this one. So ladies and gentlemen, here we are. 2 brand new crafts. We have our Shatterhorn daggers and we have our sapphire warhammer. Where in the world? Wait. I used to have a rune forge, right? Oh, wait, no, I moved it. Okay. I kind of forgot that I moved my rune forge over here, but we have an entire room for enchantments. And honestly, we have barely enough essence to go ahead and do this. So hopefully we get lucky with our rolls. And first, we got to do damage. Of course, on top of that, we're going to be looking for berserk. And there it is right there. Now, I think we should probably also do durability on this one. You know, I did craft these in gold, so we have 4 rune slots. Of course, one of those rune slots being taken by zapping. But before I go any further with that, we're going to go ahead and get our warhammer right as well. So first off, we're throwing damage on. Of course, we're also going to use force on this, berserk as well. And I think lastly, we'll go ahead and put durability on this one. For now, though, I don't think it's super important because we're going to go over to our legendary forge. Oh, and I just broke the fence. Okay. Note to self, don't secondary fire the pistols in this area. But yeah, we're coming over here to our legendary forge and we're just going to get these things ready to get to legendary. Now that they're rifted, it's time to really have some fun with these. Again, guys, today's video is very, very experimental and I'm excited to get to work. I think that I should probably get a little more essence since I only have 72 right now. But once I do, I'm going to put forge on these Shatterhorn daggers. That way, when I go ahead and swing these around, I'll hopefully also be launching enemies away from me. Because as we know, with these melee weapons, the main flaw is the fact that you can just get attacked when you're swinging. Anyway, my inventory is an absolute mess right now. So let me put some stuff away and I will catch up with you guys when we're ready to get out and explore. All right, guys, and I'm actually hyped to do this. We have our full inventory here. And as you can see, this is just something that did not exist a few weeks ago in this game, which is very exciting first off. But second off, we got to remember where our stuff is because no longer do I even carry a pickaxe when I play this game. It's kind of insane to think about. So here we go. We got to remember where these things are even in my inventory. And first off, we got the warhammer so I could just lay the boom like I'm the Costco guys. Then we also have our dual daggers in our secondary slot here so we can go ahead and do our secondary attack. We have a flint knock so we can get around pretty easily if I ever need to disengage. And then of course, I always have my plasma pistols on me because why would I not? These are literally the best things in the entirety of this game. With all 3 of these new items though, what you'll notice is that you don't actually have your second hand available. And what I mean by that is if I pull out my flint knock, you'll see that I have a second hand, which I'm carrying food in. In this case, I got some tropical smoothies. But all of these brand new items actually don't let you have your second hand available. So for that, the last thing in my inventory are going to be those meat pies. The only problem is with the expeditions update, the binds, if you play keyboard and mouse, actually don't let you overlap. So it's kind of annoying. And I'm sure some of you guys that play both these games often feel my pain. So if anyone from LEGO Fortnite or Epic is watching, please fix that because it's actually really annoying to have to go change your keybinds every time you switch modes. Anyway, that's besides the point. Guys, we are here in a storm cave for one reason and one reason only, and it's to just have fun with these brand new weapons and see how good they really are. So first off, I am excited to test out the way that berserk works with this because obviously we're gonna need to disengage quite a bit when we're swinging around here. And yeah, just look at this sprint and jump speed that we already have. Of course, it's always smart to stay a certain distance away and just go ahead and just zap them like that because dude, the pistols are just so OP, but that's not the point of today's video. Let's jump deep into here. So let's charge at these guys. Let's hit some slam attacks. Let's hit some dash attacks as well. And oh my goodness, I think we're lagging a little bit, but still, you're just seeing me absolutely take these guys down. Okay, and here we go. We got the worst enemy in the entire game, the most annoying enemy in the entire game, and I'm interested to see how easily we can take him down. And yo, that was actually pretty insane. Keep in mind, since these dual daggers are not the ruby ones I talked about earlier, we're also going to have zapping on these. Obviously, that only really matters when there's other enemies around, so in a moment like that, we're not going to get any zapping power. But if we could group together a few enemies like this, and I go ahead and do that, then all of a sudden, yep, we're just going to take him down super quick. Again, look at my hearts, dude. It's really hard to use these melee weapons for me, at least. And let me know in the comments if any of you guys prefer these new melee weapons over something like the pistols. Anyway, we got a lot of layers of this cave to get through, so let's continue onwards. As far as the spawners go, I'm definitely going to be using my pistols to break these. But actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and take our warhammer and just slam down on this. And yo, wait, hang on. That's actually not bad. We just 2-hit that thing. Obviously, it was already low health, but still. Let's continue to use this warhammer and bang, bang. One more time. There we go. Okay, I think I'm starting to get it a little bit. Obviously, I don't think anything will be as good as the pistols, but I do think if you chain together your attacks properly, you can go ahead and do some pretty decent damage with these. Oh my, oh my. Okay, come on. There we go. There we go. And bang. And oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. We're at 1 heart. We're at 1 heart. Oh no. Holy cow. Okay, yeah, you could get yourself into some predicaments, I'm not gonna lie. But let's lock in. I'm trying to really enjoy this Warhammer, and I do really like the damage that it does. The only issue is, again, you do end up just taking more damage. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, though. You guys get it. We're on the last phase of this part of the cave, though, so let's just continue to do some damage here. Ow. Ooh, we got some zapping kicking in here. That's why we made these in the first place. Oh, dude. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit better with these. This definitely is more of a challenge, I will admit. Like, if I had 4 pairs of Shatterhorn plasma pistols, I would literally just shred through this without even getting hurt. So for that reason, I would not substitute these on a regular basis. But obviously, we had to investigate, and some of these attacks are actually pretty fun to chain together. Anyway, we've got a few more layers of this cave, so let's keep it going. Of course, at the very end, we are also probably going to have to fight the Thunderlord, so I'm interested to see how that goes. But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, so let's just keep it going here. One of the most confusing attacks, in my opinion, is this Warhammer attack, where I go ahead and stand on it, and then I normal attack, and it kind of just slides you towards the enemy, and it only does 10 damage. I don't know what that even is. Like, watch this. The guy has less than half health, and if I just go like this, it doesn't even... Dude, it, like, barely hurts him. On the other hand, I'm literally so hurt I'm about to die, so hang on. But yeah, again, I have no idea what this attack is. If anybody in my comments knows, let me know, because this is just kind of useless. On the other hand, the jump slam is definitely my favorite with the Warhammer. I would highly recommend that one. And here we go, guys. We have made it to the Thunderlord here, and we're going to be trying to take him out with only melee weapons. That means no plasma pistols, because that's my crutch. Let's just see how it goes here. Guys, drop a like on the video to give me luck, because I'm probably gonna need it. I don't know what this... Oh, yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know how much damage that the Thunderlord does, and off the bat, I am already getting cooked by him. So let's try to keep our distance. Let's hope that this Berserk does something to help us, and oh no. Yeah, we really got to keep our distance here. Yeah, you do not want to melee fight the Thunderlord. Holy cow, this is terrifying. Okay. Oh no. We can avoid his plasma attacks pretty easily. It's more so these swords that I'm scared of, because he does a lot of damage when he hits you. Okay, there we go. We're hitting our combo on him. Nice. He's scared. He's teleporting away. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Come on. Oh. Ow. Bruh. No way. Bro, I was gonna say the Warhammer is way too slow. I should just be using the daggers in that situation, because yeah, that was bad. And well, guys, that was an absolute L, but that's gonna about be the end of this video. Final conclusion, I think both of these new melee weapons do have their place in LEGO Fortnite. I just think that there's one new weapon that stands out far above the rest, and you guys already know what it is. I talk about it 24/7, but it's of course the plasma pistols, because look at this. 2 bursts, and just like that, yeah, it's just insane. You can't beat it. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about these weapons down in the comments. Am I just using them wrong, or are the pistols just too overpowered?